Welcome to Beneath the Surface, a space where clinical insight meets holistic healing. I'm Joplin Monique, a holistic coach and consultant. I'm joined by Lasana Claxton, a licensed professional counselor. Together, we explore the emotional layers beneath our everyday lives, from personal healing to family patterns and the systems that shape us. Everyone, welcome back to Beneath the Surface. We're so glad you're here joining us on today's initial episode as we get started back into our conversation. So, before we dive into our topic for today, I am joined with my co host, Mrs. Lasana Claxton. Miss Lasana, do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Hello. I'm Lasana Claxton, and I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia and South Carolina. Just happy to be here with Joplin Monique to just kind of have some fireside chats about issues that we often are dealing with that we don't talk about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am Jocelyn Monique. I am a spiritual activist, educator, family support specialist, coach, whatever you want to call me. I am here to support my people in a way that most of us don't get the support, and it's from a holistic healing perspective. So we are glad to be here with you guys today. So today's topic, we are diving into something that many of us carry, but we don't often name out loud, and that is emotional blocks. And for me, my definition is based off of their emotional blocks are things that make us feel stuck, that
Mm.
keep us from showing up fully. So, Ms. Lasana, how do you identify emotional blocks from the clinical side of your work?
I mean, when you think about what you just said, it's the same
Mhm.
internal barriers that prevent us as individuals from fully experiencing and processing our emotions.
Mm,
These blocks can manifest in so many different ways.
mhm,
One of them specifically is avoidance,
mm,
avoiding things. But I know we'll get deeper into that later. But yes,
absolutely.
that is definitely the same. I define it clinically as the same thing. Sometimes there are past traumas
Mm,
that actually keep us from moving forward because we haven't dealt with it. And oftentimes when we don't deal with things, we get stuck.
absolutely. Absolutely. I know from my side personally a emotional block that I have been working through spiritually, physically, and just holistically has been the emotion of grief. Grieving my past, some past decisions, grieving some past thought patterns, grieving things that I wished would have turned out a different way, um,
Absolutely.
and didn't. And so I am actually in the process of changing some of those thought patterns and basically freeing myself so I can move forward because obviously there was a reason, there's a lesson behind every difficult experience that I have grieved or felt the emotion of a loss behind. And so I am choosing to focus on those lessons. Is that something that you see with your clients a lot as a typical emotional block?
Yes. I think we don't realize how many different situations we can grieve.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you just say grieving was something that you wanted to happen that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we grieve relationships. We wanted the relationship to work out and it didn't. So you grieve the fact that you was in it for whatever time you was in it and it didn't happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think about just grieving the loss of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been a marriage that wasn't good, or there may have been some domestic violence. But even in at the end of it, when it's finally over and there is the divorce or the relationship is no longer, and you knew that it wasn't good for you, there is a grieving process.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
okay. It's okay for us to admit that, dang,
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling some type of way now that it is over. I know I was going through it in it and I
Mm-hmm.
was hurting in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
but my God, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurting even more. But it's
Mm-hmm.
grieving the loss of what you really wanted it to be. It never became that. You really
Absolutely.
wanted it.
Absolutely. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. So as a summary, we can define emotional blocks as internal roadblocks, internal barriers that we've used sometimes to protect ourselves,
Mm,
rather they be habits, thought patterns, but now at one point we used them to protect ourselves, but now they've prevented us from growing or connecting.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And so this can come, like you said, this can come from many different angles. So I identified my most recent emotional block that I'm working through as grief or loss. But like you identified, they can come from heartbreak, they can come from family or relational dynamics, such as divorce, they can come from early childhood wounds, trauma, rejection, and they're not always easily identifiable. Do you agree?
I completely agree. One of the things, Joplin, that I have been talking to a lot of my clients about, and I've also just kind of settled it within myself as well. Growing up in the generation in which I grew up, I think I would be Generation X. Girl, I don't even
Mm,
know. Charlotte, it's so many, now.
yeah.
But I remember, and I don't really think our parents knew. And I don't know if this happens in any other culture, but
Hmm.
I know in Black families, a lot of times we go to our parents and we tell them that we're feeling a way. And if it's something that they're uncomfortable with, they'll say, "Oh, don't feel that way."
Mm,
And I don't really think they understood that they were actually telling us not to feel,
right.
because that thing, I was feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if they knew how to sit with us
Mm-hmm.
and help us process where those feelings were coming from. So now here we are as adults.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to express our feelings.
Absolutely.
So we're stuck.
Right. Right.
And it's not good because, first of all, we got to realize those feelings are valid. They're coming from something.
Absolutely.
So now, as adults, we are in these romantic relationships, professional relationships, friendships, even familial relationships. And there's a breakdown
Mm,
and there's discord because no one learned how to express their feelings. No
absolutely.
one learned to say, "I was hurt
Mm-hmm.
when you didn't invite me to the party.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
disappointed
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when you chose someone else to go on the trip and not me."
Right.
It's okay to say that,
Right.
but
Right.
we've not been encouraged to say that. So now we're trying to undo, if we understand that it's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to undo all these other things that we learned that can serve as emotional block.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that I have noticed, I completely agree with you because your generation is around the same generation as my elders in my family. And emotional suppression was a big deal, but it's a
Hmm.
learned behavior, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's where you have to get to one generation, which I see myself as that generation or that member to say, no, I can't. I won't.
Mhm. Yes.
It's impossible. And I was very, I say sensitive, but I felt a lot as a child. And as an adult, I do as well. And so it's impossible for me to suppress. It's impossible. And when you have people around you that deem it as disrespect if you don't stay silent, it's hard to navigate that. And you're at constant war with your intuition and their systematic expectations, which is to stay silent,
Absolutely.
you know? And so
Mhm.
that's when the emotional blocks spread out. They spread throughout generations, they spread throughout families, they spread in these relationships. And now we're in a society that just chooses not to feel.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I love when you said just oh God, it seems so I got a menopause brain. Y'all gotta bear with me. Um the learned
Hmm.
behavior
Hmm.
that lead to negative core beliefs,
Hmm.
they are there and we have to address them.
Hmm.
We can't allow them to just sit there.
Hmm.
I love when you talked about it being perceived as disrespectful
Hmm.
when you are only setting healthy boundaries,
Hmm. Hmm.
asking questions because I don't understand.
Hmm.
And what they may not really get is that I need to ask questions because I need to understand. And then you guys get upset with us when we do it opposite of what you suggested, but we didn't understand, but then you didn't allow us to ask questions.
That part. Exactly. Exactly.
It, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to, and I know family probably get annoyed with me when I'm like, wait a minute, let them talk. When I'm
Hmm.
talking to my nieces and my nephews, I'm like, wait.
Hmm.
Before you interrupt them, let them talk, let them get it out because I remember what it feels like
Hmm.
not to be heard,
Absolutely.
not to feel seen
Absolutely.
because it's what I said.
Hmm.
So I didn't have a choice.
Hmm.
I didn't have a choice of how to feel. Isn't
Right.
that awful?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm stuck
Hmm.
with all these feelings that are buried,
Right.
that have been suppressed. And oftentimes they come out as anxiety.
Absolutely.
They come out as depression
Absolutely.
because I couldn't talk about my feelings.
Yes. And
And then
don't.
I learned how to show them with negative emotions like
Hmm.
lashing out or
Hmm.
shutting down.
Hmm. Hmm. And don't forget physical ailments. You know,
Oh my God.
trauma gets stuck in the body. And that's what a lot of my work leans towards is the understanding between the emotions and the physical body. And I know within, the diaspora, within the Black and African American community, we look at physical ailments just as physical, but there is information connecting the mind and the body, mind body.
Absolutely.
So if you are feeling different ailments, there's usually an emotional attachment to that goes unaddressed, which are manifesting as these emotional blocks, and they're showing in your body. They're showing in these different diagnoses. They're showing in aches and pains. And that's definitely something that I have done a lot of looking into, as well as the nervous system,
Uh-huh.
repairing that nervous system going within, because obviously we're talking about emotional blocks and we're seeing here that it impacts more than just us on a personal level. It
Absolutely.
it impacts us on a relational level and our family dynamics and our friendships, like you stated. It impacts us on a systematic level because even when we talk about silence and suppression, that shows
Mhm.
up in our relationships in healthcare. That shows up in our relationships in education system, everywhere. The only place
Mhm.
that people are encouraged to speak openly about their emotions are in the places that you, as a LPC or as a, a
Yeah.
licensed professional
Mhm.
counselor, your
Mhm.
profession,
Mhm.
that's it.
And you yes, and you wonder like how many people are out there, how many relationships
Mhm.
are broken
Mhm.
because I didn't know how to express my feelings.
Mhm.
I didn't know I was seeking validation
Right.
from others, avoiding anything that was uncomfortable to talk about.
Mhm.
Even when you think about self-medicating and
Yep.
turning to alcohol and drugs or other addictive behaviors to cope with emotional pain,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
whole unhealthy relationship dynamics,
Mhm.
it's all connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talked about some of this already, but signs that somebody might be carrying an emotional block. So we talked about, how do you know if there is something, if this is something that you're dealing with? How do we know that we have an emotional block within us, something that is keeping us from living our full capacity emotionally? And so you mentioned overreacting and shutting down, and you
Mhm,
also mentioned feeling stuck. Are there
mhm.
any other signs that you can think of, Miss Lasana, that someone may be carrying an emotional block?
I think we also mentioned depression.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
We mentioned depression.
Mhm.
We mentioned anxiety,
Mhm.
avoidance.
Yes. Yes.
I think there was something else that I was thinking about earlier. We talked about the physical
Mhm.
ailments,
Yes, ma'am. Carrying that tension.
avoiding difficult conversations.
Yes. Yes.
You just said it, muscle tension and
Mhm.
pain. You're
Mhm.
wondering why. Digestive issues,
Yes.
fatigue and exhaustion,
Mhm. Mhm.
numbness or apathy,
Mhm.
difficulty with emotional expression, not able to, or difficulty expressing needs and desires. That the negative core beliefs, that's a good one.
Yes, ma'am.
Not
Yes, ma'am.
feeling good enough.
Right.
I'm not safe. I'm helpless. You know, yeah, I think we kind of covered them all, but
Mm,
those are a few that I really wanted to bring out.
definitely. And
Uh,
their survival strategies.
yes,
Pretty much
absolutely.
we use them as a way to soothe ourselves, like you mentioned with addiction. We use it in behavioral addictions. Some people
Mm,
as well do feel that just addiction just attaches to substance,
mm,
alcohol. But when we look at behavioral addiction, like
mm,
shopping addictions,
mhm,
doing any task to soothe yourself emotionally, food addiction, gambling, all of those other types of behavioral addictions,
mhm,
that those are signs as well that you may be carrying an emotional block. But where some people get stuck, they get stuck there at that survival
mhm.
strategy. This is what I've been doing for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Why change now? And there are some
Uh-huh.
there are, there are some ways to release those emotional blocks. So what are some ways, Miss Lasada, you think that folks can start releasing those emotional blocks from your professional standpoint?
I would say, using techniques to work through those emotions, therapy, shadow work, um,
Absolutely.
intentional movement, there is, I don't know if you've seen it, Joplin, but oftentimes I'm going through social media and, because I'll go down a rabbit hole trying to research different things because I want to know more like, oh my God, this is amazing. But you'll see the I think it's called, I don't know what it's called, stretching, where they say you carry the trauma in your certain traumas in your hips, and women will be stretched and they'll go through that. I cannot remember what it's called, but
Somatic therapy?
Somatic. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is amazing. I actually said that I wanted to just kind of do it, just experience it. I think that is huge to release some of that tension. I also think that it's good to start sharing those feelings, stop holding that stuff in. If there are feelings there, you need to address them, remembering that, hey, it's not about how the other person necessarily receives what it is that you're sharing, but it's the fact that you have now decided, I can no longer hold these feelings. I need to share that this has made me feel a way, whatever way it made you feel, because at this point, it's about unpacking. I need to unpack all these things that I've been feeling. And oftentimes healing can come from that, even in relationship.
Absolutely.
Maybe the partner or the mother or the daughter or the brother or the sister may say, oh my God, I had no idea you felt that. That was never my intentions. And sometimes it may bring out and up other things, which is okay, because the what we want is the healing to take place.
Absolutely.
With ourselves and in our relationships. And I say that because life is a vapor. We're here today, gone today, and you just don't know. Do you want those relationships to remain in the status in which they are, which is, broken? Or do you really want to work through them? And it can be scary.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know how people are going to respond. And that's another reason why we have the emotional blocks, that fear.
Yes.
I don't know how you're going to respond. So I'll just keep it to myself. I'm good. I can handle it. But that's not fair to you.
Absolutely.
Not fair to you as an individual. You deserve to be able to share your feelings because your feelings are real. You feel what you feel for a real reason, whether it's accepted, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. There's a reason you feel it. Absolutely. And we got to clear that up to remove the block.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know one method that I have practiced in order to clear some emotional blocks for myself was, and it's very simple, practicing forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Forgiving myself, forgiving others, not because anything that was done or said to me was okay, but because that created peace in my body, that created peace in my heart. And I would not be able to properly love the people around me if I did not choose to let go of that pain that was causing the emotional block. So getting down to that root cause, what is the reason for it? So challenging the beliefs is another way or reason to remove and release those emotional blocks. Okay, I react aggressively when someone challenges me in this way. Why do I react aggressively? How does that make me feel when they ask me this question, or when someone says, X, Y, and Z about me? Why does that trigger me? Well, because it makes me feel like I'm not good enough, or it makes me feel shameful, or it makes me feel insecure. Okay, address that. because the reaction is the outcome of the trigger. It's the
Absolutely.
outcome. And when you address the belief, when you address the root cause, you're releasing it. Anything that you give your awareness to no longer holds power over you.
Absolutely.
So that is definitely something that I keep in mind as I do my own self work and as I go through my own healing process. And so, as we move towards the end of our closure, I do invite our listeners to sit with a question of, with this journaling or saying it out loud or just opening the door to a new thought process. But anyone that is listening, definitely jot this question down and sit with after this episode. What are you ready to release, even if you are still afraid? Miss Lasana, you mentioned fear. What are you ready to release regardless of how fearful you are to release it? Your attention towards said thing is going to release that. It will release it on its own. The power is cut as soon as your attention towards that goes, as soon as the attention towards the root cause goes. So this has been a wonderful conversation about these emotional blocks. Before we close out, Miss Lasana, do you have any closing remarks for our folks that are listening?
I do. I think about something you said earlier. I mean, we kind of elaborated on it, how trauma, it manifests itself in various parts of the body.
Yes.
Because of the interconnectedness of the brain and the body. Definitely connected. You have certain parts of the brain, like the hippocampus and the amygdala, they play a key role in processing and storing traumatic experiences. So what happens is it. It's so important. I'm just going to say this, to breathe on purpose. I remember when my counselor told me she said, well, Sana, you just got to breathe. Yes, I see a therapist, of course.
Therapist got to have a therapist.
Absolutely. So she said, breathe. And I was like, well, dang, I am breathing. I'd be dead if I wasn't. But I then understood that we have a God-given tool that it's with us consistently to breathe. I tell my clients to smell the roses and then blow out the candles.
Absolutely.
That automatically and internally helps you to reset the parasympathetic nervous system. We were born with it.
Absolutely.
And it can help you reset so that you can identify the emotional blocks and then process them and work through them. Because if we can't reset and we've got all this stuff just piled in those areas of our brain, I can't think clearly. I don't know what my emotional blocks are because there's too much up here. But what I need to do is I need to get therapy. Of course, I need to pour and I need to unpack. I need to dump some of the stuff that's right there front and center all the time. And then I need to breathe. I need to reset. And now I'm going to start dealing with the stuff because I can see it now. I can feel now.
Right.
And that is just super important.
Absolutely. We can't get to the root cause of anything in chaos. And what you're suggesting is clearing the chaos to get to the pearl, basically, to get to the meat of it. Because the chaos is just fluff. The chaos is just in the way. Breathing brings us back to clarity, brings us back to center. Get to that center and then start your unpacking. Awesome. If you found something helpful in today's episode, we love for you to subscribe and leave us a comment. We'll see you next time as we continue exploring what lies beneath the surface.